Welcome everybody to Australian MMA. This interview is with Jesse Funky Cold Medina. It's an interesting chat. We actually go into the first time he found out that Funky Cold Medina could be his very nickname. He's taking on Diego Pereira at Eternal 75 May 6 in the Gold Coast. I'm hearing through some sources that it could be a number one contenders fight. We talked to Jesse about his fight taking on Diego Pereira. We also talk about his 10-year career as a professional, and he's done it all fighting out of Mildura, Victoria, which is a place of about 30,000 people. And he's managed to fight, some of the guys he's fought have ended up in the UFC, and more than half of his fight record has ended up as Australian MMA champion. So it's very, very interesting. We chat to him about that, about how he's basically got no enemies in the sport. He's one of the nicest guys, but he's still very intriguing with how he got his start. And where he wants to go now in the sport. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy it. If you do like it, hit up Australian MMA _ on Instagram or watch this on YouTube. Or if you're doing both those things, go check out the podcast, Australian MMA, on your favourite podcast app. Check it all out. But I hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Funky Cold Medina. Mate, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, mate, you're taking on Diego Pereira, May 6, Gold Coast. First of all, what are your thoughts on Diego?
No, he's an experienced guy. He's had a few fights. I've watched him throughout the years. He's fought a few of the guys I've fought, a few of the guys I've looked to fight. So, no, he's definitely an experienced guy. Don't know him personally or anything at all, but yeah, it's a good fight and a fight. I've been chasing this fight for a little while now, and unfortunately, I got injured last time, so it's a good fight that I'm looking forward to.
Now, you talk about like you guys have fought similar guys, and you've been around. You've been around for 10 years as a pro. You've fought guys that have fought in the UFC. Where do you put both of your careers? Where do you think you're both at in what stage?
A lot of people think that like we're towards the end of the careers. I've been told a few times that yeah, I'm at the end, but I don't see that. I'm 32 this year, and again, that is old in some MMA years. But you look at Yoel Romeo, he was 39 when he started, I'm pretty sure. And you go, I don't look like him, unfortunately, but I feel like yes, we've both had a few losses in our careers as well, but a win for this win for either of us is going to push us back up there with those top level guys, like those top guys in Australia, those top 5 featherweights in Australia for pushing that next shot in the UFC.
And do you think Diego thinks similarly?
Yeah, I think he does too. Like, I feel he's at that level. Like, he's won a few good fights, and if he's lost a few close ones as well. And he's at that. Probably we're both similar. Like, we just need, if we get on that few wins in a row, that number one spot in Australia is pretty much there for either of us.
Now, Eternal has announced, unless I'm mistaken, which I normally am, but that this is a number one contenders fight, which means you will get the winner of Van Heerden Costa at featherweight. Has that been communicated to you?
No, but that'd be good. I hope. Look, I probably misread something somewhere. It'd be great if it is the number one contender shot. Yeah, again, both of those guys, Justin and Rod, they're both guys I'm wanting to fight as well. They've been, yeah. So it's the win. This win sort of sets me up for the rest of the year, I think.
And who do you think takes the fight out of Van Heerden and Costa?
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be a good fight, to be honest. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I think Rod won the first fight, but Justin's he's improved that much since he's gone to the new gym training with Alex and stuff. He's improved out of sight. Like, there's a reason he's got that number one spot at the moment. He's fought guys that a lot of guys are too scared to fight, and he deserves that spot. And look, I can't tell you who wins that one, to be honest.
Well, then let me put it like this. Which one do you not want to get in the cage with?
Oh, look, I want to get in the cage with both of them, to be honest. Like, I want to fight the winner and fight the loser. So, like, depending on which way this fight goes, happy to fight the winner. If I don't win this fight, look, I'm happy to fight the loser. Like, they're both guys I want to share the cage with in the future.
And where do you think, and I guess this goes for Diego as well, like where do you think you really shine in mixed martial arts?
I don't know. It's probably the ground. I think is probably the part where I shine.
So even guys like Costa, who are like, I think he was bronze medalist at Worlds and stuff like that, that doesn't
Yeah.
scare you?
No, not like I think different fighters make different like different fights make different different matchups make different fights. Like my last fight against um Rodolfo, he's a third degree black belt and he took me down. I wasn't really worried about that. He went for a few subs. He got my back at one stage. It's nothing that I'm too stressed about. Like I feel my skills. In jiu-jitsu, he'd wipe the floor with me. Not probably, he would wipe the floor with me. But I'm like, it's MMA. Like it's a different side of things. Like yes, he's probably still really good on the ground, but you've got to throw in those other elements in there as well.
And we talk about your last fight with Rodolfo at Demolition. You look to be in a little bit of trouble there. How much danger did you feel you were in?
Not even close. Like I wasn't even close to be honest. I get put in tighter chokes at training. Look, I actually felt really comfortable as soon as he had my back. I got the choke. I felt him squeezing hard, and then he started puffing, and I'm like, oh, look, I'm happy to stay here for the round. Like, yes, I'm going to lose a round, but like I could just feel the him puffing. I could feel his arms getting weaker, and I'm like, oh look, I'll just take the squeeze on the neck for a little bit longer, another couple minutes. Like he's not letting go. Let's just gas his arms out. And that was a more of a strategic way. Like no, I wasn't close to tapping for sure. Like I was just yeah, not even, not even.
And can you sympathize with a career like Rodolfo's at all? Obviously, he's been around for a very, very long time, and unfortunately, he's on a hell of a skid. And the record doesn't really indicate the type of fighter he is. But do you sympathize with a guy like that at all?
Yeah, 100%. Like he's like a legend of the sport. And was doing really well at one stage. And look, he's still a dangerous fighter, even though he is on the skid. He's still a dangerous fighter. Unfortunately, like he's got like people. He's been known to be knocked out a few times, but he's still the skills he's got. He's still one of the best up there. It's just that unfortunate situation for him.
Because it is normally the case of like guys that are really, really dangerous but don't have a necessarily desirable record are harder to match. Do you find that? Because I mean, I think you're listed at 16 and 11, but you've
Yeah.
fought anyone and everyone. Have you found it difficult to get fights at all?
Not as like recently. When I was first coming up, when I was pretty much fighting everybody, I was 10 wins. I think I was 10 wins, 2 losses at one stage. Before I started losing a few, but that I found it really hard then to get matches because like people were wanting full camps, and I'd be wanting to take fights on a couple of weeks' notice. If there was a spot available on the card, I was like, yeah, put me on with whoever, and it was just hard that way. So I had to take fights at lightweight and stuff like that.
And now you're a working man now. You're in currently in your lunch break. Is being turning this professional fighting into a career, getting the UFC, that sort of stuff. Is that still on your radar at all?
Yeah, look, I'd still like to. I feel a few wins. If I get a good run this year, I've had a few injuries in the last couple of years, but this win already got another fight booked in. And then hopefully, if I do get that number one contender fight as well, that gives me another. So that'll be 4 fights for the year. Hopefully, squeeze one more in by the end of the year. That'll be 5 for the year, and that should put me in that number one spot in Australia if I can win them all. And then yeah, it's surely if I can just keep that streak going, the UFC, I'll be that next guy in line for that UFC title shot.
And what's the fight booked in?
Oh, I, just I think that'll be coming out after this fight. I'll have to get this fight out of the way, and then that promotion will.
So it's not eternal. Can't be eternal.
Not eternal.
Eternal wouldn't do
no.
that. Sounds very. Can't be hex. No. Now, mate. Speaking of your fight with Diego, what is it about Diego that makes you wary of him, and where do you think you can exploit him?
I think Diego's like he's good everywhere. He's not exceptional in any one area. He's just good at everything he does. He's good at stand up. He's good at the wrestling side, the jiu-jitsu side. He's just good everywhere. I think that just I think he might be underestimating my skills a little bit and what I bring to the table. I feel like I haven't really showcased my full skill set. Like a lot of people know me as like just a grappling base, where I do have a bit of stand up I can use as well. I feel he flows a little bit better than I do, but I feel I'm not bad at what I do. Like the skills that I like, my stand up skills, I just stick to my bread and butter, and that'll just win me this fight.
Why do you think he's underestimating?
I just think that like he hasn't seen my all my skills on the table, and he's probably just thinking, look, I'll just go in and take him down. Where I'm happy to have a stand up battle. I'm happy to take it. I'm happy to take the fight everywhere it needs to go.
Pedaling right back. I mean, like I've said, you've notched up a decade of pro fights. First of all, why did you even get into mixed martial arts?
Well, probably I was playing footy as under 16s, like AFL, under 16s, and then everyone was like, "Oh, wanting to like they're going to do basketball during the off season, cricket during the off season." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't really want to do any of that." And then someone was like, "Oh, I'm doing martial arts." So then I had nearly done taekwondo, to be honest, and then found the gym that I'm at now. They had a ad in the yellow pages.
You are
Yeah,
old.
yeah, yellow pages. They were nice and thick back then. They were, but yeah, it started like that. They had an ad in there for cardio kickboxing, so I started with cardio kickboxing, and then they offered a BJJ class and a mixed martial arts class. So that's where I took off from there.
Because you were born in Mildura or from Mildura?
No, not. I've moved around a little bit.
Yeah.
Growing up, and then been in Madura for the last 17 years now.
So is there? I mean, that's how far is that out of Melbourne?
So it's 6 hours from Melbourne, about 4 hours from Adelaide.
Yeah. So because it's not like I spent time in Mount Gambier, which is like that similar like distance between Adelaide and Melbourne. Have you ever thought of moving like to the city to sort of get those more opportunities with training and whatnot?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I do have a little, he's not little anymore. I do have a son. He's 10 years old, so it sort of just kept me locally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always think about it. And unfortunately, all my friends all the time say to me, "Oh, imagine how good you'd be if you moved to the city and train with some of these good guys." I feel like as a regional town, we do really well. Like we've got a lot of guys coming up now as well. We do really well for what we have available. But then you sort of look back on and you go, geez, things could have been so much differently.
Yeah, but I feel like you're putting it on the map in terms of I do like guys that hang on to their hometown. I know that the Central Coast isn't necessarily small, but like Jamie Malarkey has done a similar thing where it's like he just sort of puts the town on his back and he's like, nah, man, I can make it from here. I've got everything here. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I feel like when I was coming up, when I first turned pro, and it was really hard. I didn't have there was no real amateur scene back here. It was just real hard to get training partners, consistent training partners and stuff as well. Now, like the guys coming up in our gym, we've got like no one really fighting pro yet, but one is about to turn pro. Like we've got Augustus McCallum, he's a jiu-jitsu world champion. So he's pushing me. John Lockhead's probably going to turn pro in the next couple of years, and a lot of amateurs coming through that actually give me a fair run. So I'm not just wiping the floor with everyone every session. Like they're just pushing really hard and making me better.
So when you first got in though, when you first started coming up, did you have anyone to sort of idolize or to follow, to have them put you under their wing, or how did you kind of get guided being in Mildura?
So Mick Maloney, the coach, he was pretty much the first guy there who sort of just pretty much just watching him. Started with jiu-jitsu, done a little bit of karate side of things as well. Yeah, it was just pretty much under him, and then just sparring with guys who were also looking to come up. A lot of them sort of came and gone over the years. So it was just really a lot of with Mick just trying to hone that craft.
Have you done any training? Like, have you spent time like heading over to Melbourne for a couple of months at a time or anything like that to help you training?
And I've been over to Tiger Muay Thai for
Yeah.
about a month. Yeah, and then went to Absolute for a week a couple of years back as well. So when I can, even head to Adelaide. Got one of the guys I fought a couple of times, Miles Simpson.
Yeah.
He's got a gym over there that I go train with whenever I can, sort of thing. So it's good. Like to there is like places I can go, and the good thing about fighting, you meet a lot of great people that you can go and train with.
But you really are like just putting Mildura on your back and doing it from there, which is pretty amazing to see. You seem to be friends with just about everyone you've fought. Is there anyone you didn't get along with when heading into a fight?
No, not really, to be honest. I'm pretty easygoing. I think anyway. So I think like you're too busy training, too busy trying to diet and stuff like that. I don't have the time as it is, family man training. I don't have the time to talk all that crap.
And a guy that I feel like doesn't get a whole lot of praise in the division is Abdallah Biata, who you fought. I don't even think he's matched right now. I kind of wanted to ask you because you were in there with him. How
Yeah.
good do you think he is?
Yeah, no, look, I thought that I could have had that fight won when I fought him, but he's good. No doubt about it. He is good, and there's probably a reason why people aren't wanting to fight him. Like he's doing really well. He's just gone from strength to strength, and again, I think he's ranked number 2 at the moment in Australia. But yeah, everyone's avoiding. He's good. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, he is a good guy.
And is there anyone in Australia, like, take weight classes out, that you would just love to fight? Like, you really like, yeah, that's the guy I want to get in the cage with.
Oh, I don't know. Look, I'd like to fight like Justin. Me and Justin are like like friends and everything like that. We're civil towards each other. Him and Rod, like, they're the top guys in Australia at the moment. So they're the guys that I'm looking to fight next.
Okay. And if you're leaning which way, Justin or Rod, that you want to fight, give me a 51%, 49%. Who do you want to fight more?
I don't know. I want to fight them both. Like, I want to fight the winner. So 51% for the winner.
All right. I'll let you go with that one. Final question before I let you go. After it's all said and done, how does? Oh no, actually, I got 2 questions. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to ask this question, right? Fighters always hate nickname questions, but I've got to ask you. Obviously, Funky Cold Medina, the greatest nickname of all time, right? At what point did you go, that's going to be my nickname?
It was actually my coach, Mick. So I remember training. He used to just call me Funky Cold, and like at the start, I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, but I didn't say anything because I was just a young kid. And then I was probably a few years later, and I'm just like, well, why do you call me that? And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, why do you call me Funky Cold?" And he's like, "Haven't you heard the song?" I'm like, "No." And then he's like, "Go home and listen to it." And then that's when I realized it, and it's just all gone from there.
It's the you come out with the walkout music. It's the absolute best. Mate, before I let you go, yeah, I will leave you on this. Is after it's all said and done, how does Jesse Funky Cold Medina want to be remembered in mixed martial arts?
I want to be remembered as one guy that fought pretty much whoever, pretty much was one of the top guys in Australia, and yeah, just a legend of the sport.
Awesome, mate. Thank you so much, and best of luck. And I can't wait for you to fight Justin and Rod at the same time. So, take it easy, mate.
Thank you.